Just want to say this. First and foremost, there's no shame, no embarrassment in getting packed out, getting beat up. As long as you fight, you're respected. Now, did King fight? We don't know. I'm going to tell you my personal opinion about T.I.'s son, King.
I don't have no gang. I ain't in no gang. I got family. I got motherfuckers who willing to risk their lives and freedom to die by me and mine. You hear me? Why don't f***ing play with me, man?
For tonight's timeline is on fire and the whispers are getting louder. Not confirmations, just claims, clips, and late-night lives that have fans asking the same question. Has T.I. finally reached the point where he can't pull his son back from the edge? We're talking about King Harris, the swagger, the spotlight, the stubborn pride, and a swirl of unverified reports that paint a chilling picture. Some blogs hint at frantic phone calls, some users insist they heard a recording, and comment sections are split right down the middle. Did the attitude that built his image start to chip away at his reality? Or is this just the internet's favorite sport, turning a rumor into a runaway
like thunder every time it slams shut?
What you want to do? What you want to take this? You from here?
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah, I'm from here.
All right, so.
Oh, hell, y'all, let's go.
What's up with you, bro? What's up with you, bro?
Let's go.
Putting your hand around me, talking out your ass like you want to do something. What's up, bro?
Oh, Lord.
What's up, bro?
Nothing.
What? Relax, or what?
Nothing.
Or what?
Nothing.
Or what? Because you just tried me like a roller.
This could be a game.
Keep out your business, my nigga. Keep out your business.
way train. Here's what's circulating, not what's proven. Friends allegedly telling friends, he's not listening. Relatives liking posts that feel a little too pointed. A clip here, a caption there, and suddenly the narrative writes itself. A father watching the distance grow, a son doubling down to prove he's his own man. You don't know me, a voice in one live says. I warned you, another voice in a throwback interview reminds us. We're not here to declare a verdict. We're here to track the noise, separate the echoes, and ask the question everyone's thinking. Is the Harris legacy at a breaking point? Or is this just another night where rumors outrun the truth? Nothing changed, didn't begin with sirens or flashing lights. It started quietly, the way most storms do, online. Clips began surfacing of King Harris looking tense, pacing, muttering about loyalty and respect. No one knew where the footage came from, and everyone claimed to have the real story. Some said it was recorded days before an arrest, others swore it was recent. What's clear is that something in his tone had shifted. Gone was the playful defiance people had seen in his older lives. This version of King looked exhausted, like the spotlight had finally become too bright to stand under. Blogs picked up the whispers, hashtags started trending, and fans flooded timelines with questions.
Once filled his voice.
You already know that when you come to jail, everybody jealous of what you done had in your life. That's just part of the culture. Like,
was this a breakdown, a setup, or just another misunderstanding? In Atlanta, insiders claimed tension had been building for months. T.I., usually calm and measured, had allegedly grown distant, avoiding public comments but quietly working behind the scenes. One source said, he's tired of watching his son test fate. He warned him about this life, but King thought he was bulletproof. Another insider added that the problem wasn't just fame, it was pride. King wanted to be respected in the streets the way his father was respected in music. But the streets don't care about last names, and neither does...
Yes, sir.
There's one in the head.
Does your buddy have one as well?
No, brother.
All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety.
As the internet. Once a rumor catches fire, it spreads faster than truth can catch up. Things got messier when footage from a traffic stop resurfaced. It wasn't new, but the timing made it feel like breaking news. Police body cam clips from late 2024 showed King arguing with officers, calm yet defiant. The headlines hit instantly. Rapper's son caught with weapons. Privilege meets rebellion. Another celebrity kid gone wild. Commentators jumped on the story, each adding their spin. And within hours, social media had turned the footage into a meme. But beneath the laughter was something darker. Fans started noticing patterns, arrests, heated arguments, and cryptic captions that hinted at frustration with his family. People close to the Harris household began dropping subtle signs. Online, vague posts about tough love, watching someone drift, and learning the hard way. Fans speculated these were indirect messages aimed at King. Even his mother, Tiny, who usually stayed quiet, was said to be heartbroken. "She's a mother first," one insider said softly. "She wants to protect her son, but he doesn't want protection. He wants respect." For T.I., the battle was even harder. After years of building a legacy from the ground up, he was now...
Oh, motherfucking wait. You got the wrong man, wrong guy. What the fuck is that?
Was now watching that legacy shake in real time. The turning point came when rumors spread that King had gotten into trouble behind bars. No one could confirm it, but multiple blogs posted the same story at the same time. King had allegedly crossed paths with the wrong crowd. Screenshots of text messages between insiders circulated like wildfire, each one more dramatic than the last. "They're saying he mouthed off," one caption read. "He forgot that in there. Nobody cares who you are." Others claimed a phone call had been made, a desperate plea from King to his father. "He sounded scared," the messages said. Not angry, not proud, just scared. Whether that call happened or not, what followed was chaos. Fans started reposting old clips of T.I. giving advice about staying humble, using them as proof that he had seen this coming. Old interviews resurfaced where he warned about the consequences of chasing validation. "You think you want respect," he'd said once, "but what you really need is discipline." Those words echoed louder now than ever. In the comment sections, people debated endlessly. Some defended King, saying he was just young and misunderstood. Others criticized him harshly, calling it a fall from grace. But the truth, whatever it was, remained buried under speculation. Still,
and he told me that it was okay. So that's the only time. Any other time, I don't even call the police like for accidents. It ain't even no 911 call with my voice on it.
Still, that didn't stop the narrative from evolving. A new twist emerged when someone claimed T.I. had pulled strings behind the scenes to protect his son. "He called everyone he could," one anonymous post read. "Lawyers, old friends, even people from the streets. He's trying to keep this quiet." Whether real or fabricated, the rumor gave the story a new dimension. A father fighting desperately to save his son, not from outsiders, but from himself. In Atlanta's music circles, the whispers turned into full conversations. DJs and producers who'd worked with the Harris family started chiming in during live streams. "It's sad, bro," one said during a late-night session. "I seen King grow up around everything he needed. Money, love, chances. But sometimes that's the problem. When you never have to fight to survive, you go looking for battles to prove you can." That line stuck with people. It wasn't just about King anymore. It became a reflection on what happens when fame replaces fatherhood and image replaces identity. Interview 407-427 soon. Speculation reached new heights. A blogger claimed to have inside information that King's latest altercation had sparked a deeper family rift. "There's yelling, there's guilt, and there's silence," they wrote. T.I. feels responsible, Tiny feels helpless, and King feels trapped. Others said the family was planning an intervention, trying to get King out of Atlanta altogether. One unverified source even suggested that T.I. wanted to send him overseas, away from the chaos. "He needs distance," the source said. Distance from friends, from fame, from himself. But distance couldn't fix what pride had broken. King's online presence became a...
Only one on here who got bad-ass kids.
We all go through.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you ain't got no bad-ass kids, you got one and you got lucky. You hear me? Anybody with three or more,
multiples.
You got one that you don't know what the hell...
Became erratic. One day, he'd post motivational quotes about loyalty and legacy. The next, he'd delete everything. Fans noticed the pattern instantly. "This is a cry for help," one follower commented. Another replied, "Nah, this is a power move. He's about to drop music." Every action fed two narratives, the artist rising or the sun falling, and no one could tell which one was real. Then came the clip that reignited everything, a blurry video of a heated argument in what looked like a recording studio. Voices shouting, someone saying, "You don't know what I've been through," and another voice, eerily familiar, snapping back, "You're not listening." The video lasted only seconds before cutting out, but that was enough. People froze frames, enhanced audio, and analyzed every word. Many were convinced it was T.I. and King. The family never confirmed it, and yet that denial only made people believe it more. Interview 552-6. The story had now outgrown the facts. What began as whispers about a fight had transformed into a saga about legacy, loss, and love under pressure. Social media turned into a courtroom, and everyone wanted to be judge and jury. Yet beneath all the noise, there was a quieter story. A father remembering his own mistakes, and a son struggling to escape his father's shadow. Somewhere between fame and family, between public opinion and private pain, the truth waited, blurred by filters and fueled by emotion. In the days that followed, the rumor mill didn't slow down. It exploded. Every post, every podcast, every late-night live began with the same words. "Have you heard what happened to King?" Timelines filled with cropped screenshots, exclusive DMs, and grainy pictures that might as well have been from another planet. Still, people believed. Some said T.I. had flown out of town unexpectedly. Others claimed he was holed up in meetings with lawyers. One gossip account even posted a blurry clip of a man leaving a courthouse with the caption, "That's him." It didn't matter whether it was real. The idea was enough to keep everyone hooked. The story became less about facts and more about feelings. How it felt to watch a son fall from grace. How it felt for a father to carry the blame. How it felt for a family built on fame to suddenly be consumed by it. King, according to certain blogs, wasn't just in trouble. He was in danger. Posts hinted at threats, powerful enemies, and debts that couldn't be paid in cash. One thread claimed that King had disrespected someone high up in a local crew, while another said it was just jealousy. That old resentment people feel toward celebrity kids who walk around like they earned what they were born into. And somewhere in that chaos, Tiny's voice broke.
"I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this. A lot of what's happening is because it's in the public."
Through, on a live stream that fans dissected frame by frame, she looked tired, her tone soft but sharp. "People talk too much," she said. "They don't know what we go through." Those few words sparked a new wave of speculation. Did she just confirm something? Was she talking about King's situation? Or was it just a mother, fed up with strangers turning her pain into headlines? The comment section didn't care. They turned her frustration into fuel. "She's scared," one user wrote. "She's telling us something without saying it." Meanwhile, clips of T.I. resurfaced again, especially that one from a podcast where he spoke about raising kids in the spotlight. "They see the fame, not the fight," he'd said. "They think it's easy till life humbles them." Suddenly, those words were being used as prophecy. Every channel, from street bloggers to hip-hop commentators, replayed it as if he'd predicted his son's downfall. Fans debated whether T.I. had failed as a father or succeeded in letting his son face reality. The divide grew deeper with every passing day. Interview 7-34-7-51. The supposed jail altercation story became its own legend. Accounts claimed King had been moved to a different section, that T.I. had pulled strings to protect him, that guards had been paid off to keep him safe. None of it verified. Yet it all sounded believable enough to spread. One tweet read, "My cousin works there. He said King ain't built for this." It got 20,000 likes overnight. That's all it takes online. One vague statement and suddenly it's gospel. What people missed amid the frenzy was the silence. T.I. didn't post, didn't rant, didn't defend. That silence became louder than any statement could. Fans who'd followed his career for decades knew that when he stayed quiet, it meant something was happening behind closed doors. Some said he was angry. Others said he was afraid. One insider claimed he'd gone through his old contacts, trying to call in favors, even from people he'd sworn he'd never speak to again. He's doing whatever it takes, they said. This ain't about music. This is about saving his boy. And yet saving him wasn't so simple. King's pride had always been both his armor and his downfall. In private, those close to him said he refused to be treated like a victim. "I can handle it," he supposedly told a friend. "I'm not weak." But there's a difference between strength and stubbornness, and fans could see it. Every post he made after that, every cryptic quote, every half-smile selfie was picked apart for meaning. "Look at his eyes," someone commented. "He looks lost." Another replied, "He's plotting his comeback." Through all this, a clip began circulating that changed everything again. It wasn't violent or dramatic. It was quiet. T.I. and King sitting together during an old family event. No tension, no shouting, just laughter. The camera panned across them as I nudged his son and whispered something that made him grin. For a moment, the internet softened. People shared it with captions like, "Hope they find peace," and "This is what matters." But peace is temporary online. Within hours, another rumor surfaced that the two had clashed again during a private family meeting. Allegedly, voices were raised, threats exchanged, tears shed. "He feels like nobody understands him," one blogger wrote, claiming to quote a family friend. And T.I. feels like he's watching history repeat itself. That single line hit hard, because everyone knew what it meant. T.I.'s own past had been a story of redemption, rising from the streets, surviving legal troubles, turning his pain into purpose. To watch his son walk the same road must have felt like a cruel déjà vu. Interview 949-53, the Harris household, according to more whispers, had split into camps. Tiny wanted empathy. Ty wanted discipline. Relatives urged them to stay strong, to stay off social media, to keep things private. But it was too late. The world had already moved in. Even fellow artists began commenting, some offering prayers, others throwing subtle shade. "You can't raise a lion in luxury," one rapper tweeted. "They forget the jungle." And then came the alleged recording, the one that sent everyone into overdrive. A distorted audio clip of a young man crying and a deeper voice saying, "You made your choice." No proof that it was them, no confirmation from any source, yet it spread like wildfire. People clipped it, slowed it down, and added subtitles as if it were a movie scene. "This broke me," someone commented. That's a father watching his son slip away. By now, the line between fact and fiction had vanished completely. Everyone had their version of the truth. Some said King was free and laying low. Others insisted he was still behind bars. One rumor even claimed he'd gone missing for a few days, that no one could reach him. The hashtags kept trending. Pray forking. Protectee Harris. The Harris legacy. Every scroll felt like a new episode in a show nobody had asked for, but everyone was watching. And amid all the noise, one eerie detail kept surfacing. That alleged phone call. Blogs repeated the same story over and over, that King had reached out to his father, voice shaking, pride gone. "You were right," he supposedly said. "I need help." No one could prove it happened, but it sounded so human, so tragic, that people believed it anyway. And that's the danger of stories like these. When truth becomes less believable than rumor, rumor wins every time. What came next wasn't an official statement or a breaking headline. It was something quieter, a message shared through music. King posted a snippet of a song, just 30 seconds long. The lyrics were cryptic but raw. "I ain't scared, I'm just tired," he rapped. "Everybody talking, nobody really ride." Fans flooded the comments, torn between hope and heartbreak. Some said it was his way of fighting back. Others said it was a farewell. Whatever it was, it reminded everyone that behind the hashtags and headlines was a real person, trapped between proving himself and surviving the pressure of being someone's son. The internet had turned into a courtroom, and everyone wanted a verdict. Every headline, every reel, every short clip claimed to have the real story, but none of them agreed. One said King had been released under special supervision. Another swore he was still being held, isolated for his own safety. Fan pages began posting photos of old performances, pretending they were new sightings, captioned, "He's back." The confusion became the fuel. Every contradiction only made the drama more addictive, and through it all, T's silence was deafening. People started analyzing his social media posts like detectives. A single photo of a sunset sparked thousands of comments. Is this about King? He's grieving something. He's saying goodbye. One fan wrote, he's not angry anymore. He's broken. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It had become a collective obsession. And what made it worse was that King himself stayed unpredictable. One day he'd post a defiant quote about standing tall. The next, he'd delete everything and disappear again. That inconsistency made people uneasy. Was he rebelling, reflecting, or retreating? Nobody knew. Behind the scenes, according to a few unverified insiders, family meetings turned tense. One source claimed Tiny had broken down, pleading with her husband to soften his approach. "You're losing him," she supposedly said. "He doesn't need a lecture. He needs a father." Others described T.I. pacing the house at night, replaying old mistakes, haunted by memories of his own youth. One detail that kept resurfacing was that T.I. had once promised himself he'd never let his children feel the pain he felt growing up. Yet now, he was forced to watch one of them walk willingly into it. The family's circle of friends began closing ranks. Some refused to speak at all. Others dropped cryptic comments in interviews. One producer who'd worked with King on early tracks said during a podcast, "He's got the heart, man, but he's surrounded by noise. Too many people telling him who to be." Fans took that as confirmation that the tension wasn't just about the law, it was about identity. King wasn't just battling the world. He was battling himself. He wanted to be seen as more than T.I.'s son. Yet the harder he tried, the more people compared them. Rumors of an underground beef started spreading next. One account claimed that King had offended the wrong person in a music studio, throwing insults that spiraled out of control. Others dismissed it, saying it was all exaggerated for clout. But the story had already stuck. Even news outlets started referencing it in passing, carefully using phrases like alleged altercation or unverified reports. The narrative had grown too big to stop. T.I.'s camp reportedly tried to shut down the speculation, but once the internet bites, it doesn't let go. By midweek, a video emerged that reignited the fire. It showed T.I. walking out of a building surrounded by flashing cameras. He didn't speak, didn't smile, didn't wave, just kept walking. Someone shouted, "How's King?" And T.I. paused for half a second before getting into his car. That half-second silence became a meme, a headline, a talking point. "He hesitated," one vlogger said. "That means it's bad." Another claimed he mouthed a word under his breath. Looping the clip in slow motion to prove it, the attention brought a new wave of speculation, that T.I. and King had stopped speaking entirely. "There's distance," one insider wrote on a fan forum. "Too much pride on both sides." Others pushed back, saying the two were communicating privately, trying to rebuild trust away from cameras. No one could verify either claim, but both fit the narrative perfectly. One painted T.I. as a heartbroken father, the other as a strategist protecting his son from public humiliation. Either way, the story stayed alive. The more time passed, the more emotional the conversation became. Talk shows debated whether celebrity parents had it harder. Psychologists weighed in on the pressures of fame. And fans started drawing parallels between King's story and other young stars who'd struggled to live up to famous parents. "It's the curse of legacy," one panelist said. "You inherit the glory, but none of the grace." That line went viral, repeated in captions, edits, and comment threads for days. Then came another alleged leak, screenshots of a text conversation supposedly between T.I. and King. No one knew where they came from or if they were real, but they spread instantly. The messages showed a father trying to reach out saying, "You don't have to prove anything to me," and a son replying, "That's easy for you to say." The texts were short, raw, and painfully believable. Even if they weren't genuine, they felt true to what people imagined was happening behind closed doors. "This is what every father and son goes through," one user commented. except their fights on display. Interview 1252-13098 this point. The story had stopped being about a single family. It had become a reflection of every broken bond people could relate to. Fans began projecting their own experiences into it, posting comments about their own fathers, about trying to be understood, about pride getting in the way of love. Some even wrote letters addressed to T.I. and King, begging them to reconcile. The drama had turned personal for millions who saw their own struggles in theirs. Throughout it all, one recurring theme tied everything together. Silence. Silence from T.I., silence from King, silence from official sources. That silence made everything else sound louder. The rumors, the theories, the emotions. One night, a journalist posted a photo of the Atlanta skyline with the caption, "The city's quiet tonight, but the story isn't." It was poetic, exaggerated, and perfect for the feeds. Within hours, it had thousands of retweets, each one amplifying a narrative that no one could confirm but everyone wanted to believe. But then, something unexpected happened. A video surfaced of T.I. performing live at a charity event. Halfway through his set, he paused between songs and spoke directly to the crowd. "Sometimes," he said softly, "you gotta let people fall just enough to realize they can stand." It wasn't a statement about his son, not officially, but everyone knew what it meant. The crowd went quiet, cameras rose, and the clip went viral within minutes. Fans called it a moment of vulnerability. Others saw it as resignation. Either way, it reignited the conversation with more intensity than ever. By now, it didn't matter whether the rumors were true or not. What mattered was the emotional story people had built around them. A father watching his son drift away, a son struggling to find himself, and a family caught between love and legacy. Even the music industry began weighing in, one veteran rapper said in an interview. "The internet don't care about truth, they care about tension. And right now, the Harris family got plenty of that." Behind closed doors, sources claimed the family was trying to regroup. "They're tired," someone said. "They're fighting for peace, not headlines." But peace is fragile when the world's watching. Even the smallest post, the slightest gesture could set off a new storm. One wrong look, one misunderstood lyric, and the speculation would start all over again. And just when it seemed like things might calm down, a new rumor started bubbling in the background. One that hinted at an even deeper divide. Something that would test the family more than any scandal ever could. What came next felt like the calm before another storm. For a few weeks, everything went quiet. Too quiet. No posts from King, no statements from T.I., no new leaks or clips. It was as if the entire family had disappeared from the public eye, and that silence only made the rumors grow wilder. Fans began filling in the blanks themselves. "They're working things out privately," some said. "No, he's in rehab," others insisted. A few claimed King was secretly recording new music that would tell the real story. Everyone had a version, but no one had proof. Then one morning, out of nowhere, a short video appeared on King's account. No captions, no hashtags, no dramatic intro, just him sitting alone in a studio, hoodie up, eyes locked on the camera. He didn't speak for the first few seconds, just stared, breathing heavily, like he was holding back a storm. Finally, he said, "I'm tired of everybody acting like they know me. Y'all don't." That was it. 30 seconds of emotion, raw and unfiltered. The clip went viral in minutes. People analyzed every frame, every word. "He looks broken," one fan wrote. "He looks real for once," another countered. And just like that, the story reignited. News pages jumped back in with headlines like, "King Harris finally breaks silence," and "T.I.'s son sends emotional message to the world." Talk shows replayed the clip, looping it next to T's old interviews, creating montages that made it look like a conversation between father and son across time. Fans flooded comment sections with mixed emotions, some cheering him on for standing up for himself, others pleading for him to go home. The contrast was striking. One side saw defiance, the other saw desperation. Not long after, an unverified story claimed T.I. had seen the video and reached out immediately. "He was proud but worried," a so-called insider said. "He wants his son to express himself, but not like this." Supposedly, They met later that night at an undisclosed location. Just the two of them. No cameras, no entourage. What happened in that meeting became the internet's newest obsession. Some said they argued. Others claimed they finally hugged it out. One blog posted that they recorded something together, a project meant to heal the family. Again, no proof, just whispers, posts, and people desperate to believe. The emotional tension spilled over into the music scene. Rappers who'd stayed silent suddenly began dropping verses that seemed to reference the situation. "You can't teach peace to a storm you made," one line read. Another artist tweeted, "You raise lions, don't cry when they roar." These cryptic comments only deepened the mystery, making fans wonder who was speaking truth and who was chasing clout. Even industry veterans started weighing in, calling it one of hip-hop's most painful public family dramas. Meanwhile, the family's inner circle tried to stay grounded. Close friends of T. I claimed he'd started turning down interviews, refusing to talk about anything personal. "He doesn't want to feed the noise," one said. "He just wants his son to find himself before the world finishes writing his story." But King's story had already become everyone's story. Every move he made, every word he said became content. When he deleted that studio video a week later, people panicked. Something happened, fans speculated. He's been silenced. A few hours later, he reappeared with a post that simply read, "I'm learning." Nothing else. 3 words that somehow said everything. 3 words that somehow said everything. That post became a rallying cry. I'm learning trended for days, with fans, celebrities, and even critics using it to share messages about growth, pain, and second chances. The comment sections turned emotional, filled with thousands of people reflecting on their own families. "We all got a king in our lives," one user wrote. "Someone trying to prove themselves before they're ready." Another replied, "And we all got a TI too. Someone who just wants to protect what they built." For the first time, the noise online started to sound more like understanding than judgment. Then came the biggest twist of all, a leaked snippet of a song allegedly recorded by T.I. and King together. It wasn't confirmed, but the voices were unmistakable. Over a slow, somber beat, T.I. rapped, "I built this castle but forgot the door was open," while King's verse followed with, "You taught me to fight, but never how to stop." It spread like wildfire. Fans called it heartbreaking, beautiful, and brutally honest. The idea that father and son had turned their pain into art gave everyone a reason to hope. Even those who doubted its authenticity couldn't deny the message hit deep. That moment changed everything. The conversation shifted from scandal to redemption. Bloggers who'd once fueled the drama started praising the growth arc, calling it a rare example of humility in hip-hop. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to analyzing the lyrics, treating them like confessions. Some said it was proof they'd reconciled. Others said it was a metaphor for what still needed to happen. Either way, the public finally saw something beyond the chaos, a glimpse of healing. And then, almost poetically, T.I. posted for the first time in weeks. It wasn't a statement or a defense, just an old photo of him holding a toddler king in his arms. No caption, no explanation. The image said it all. Fans flooded the comments with tears, heart emojis, and prayers. "The real ones always come back," one wrote. "This is love, not defeat," said another. Even the tabloids softened, running headlines about forgiveness instead of failure. For the first time in months, the narrative felt still. The frenzy slowed, replaced by something fragile but genuine. Maybe they hadn't fixed everything. Maybe the wounds were still open, but the world had stopped shouting long enough to let them breathe. Whether the leaked song was real or not didn't matter anymore. It had reminded people what the story was really about. Not fame, not downfall, but family. And while no official update ever came, fans chose to believe the best version of the ending, the one where the father who built an empire and the son who tried to escape its shadow finally met halfway. Somewhere in that quiet, behind the flashing lights and endless speculation, they found a moment of truth. Not the kind you post, not the kind you prove, just the kind you live. Whatever the truth behind the rumors, one thing's for sure: the world can't stop watching. Every glance, every post, Every silence from the Harris family has become a mirror for the struggles every family faces in private. A father trying to hold on, a son trying to prove himself, and a legacy hanging somewhere in between. Maybe what we're seeing isn't a fall, but a transformation. Maybe pain really is the price of growth. What happens next is anyone's guess. Will King rise stronger, turning the noise into something meaningful? Or will pride pull him back into the chaos that nearly consumed him? Will T.I.'s silence break into forgiveness? Or has he said everything he needed to already? These are the questions that have fans scrolling, arguing, and hoping for an ending that finally brings peace. But until that day comes, all we can do is watch the story unfold. So tell us, what do you think? Is this just the internet doing what it does best? Or are we witnessing a real-life reckoning between fame and family? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you've been following this saga from the start, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Because if there's one thing history's taught us about the Harris family, it's that silence doesn't last forever, and the next chapter might be closer than anyone thinks.